Hello again, thanks for choosing us. Now, a member of the GJA has filed an application at the Accra High Court seeking to restrain the association from proceeding with the swearing-in of the president-elect Albert Dwumfour, who won last Friday's election overwhelmingly. The applicant, Justice Adeboye, wants, among other things, an order to stop Albert Dwumfour from carrying himself as president of the Ghana Journalists Association. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has been studying the documents and joins me via Zoom with details. Joseph, first of all, the basis for this application stems from some allegations of bribery that's been leveled against Albert Dwumfour. At the time, he was a candidate. What are the details?
Yes, Ernest. And so first, he makes the point that...
Joseph, you'd have to unmute your device. We cannot hear you. Well, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
Yes, and so first, he makes the point that as a member of the Ghana Journalists Association, he is quite aware of what the Constitution provides. And a provision in the Constitution is to the effect that an individual who gives money to influence the election process is not someone who is eligible to contest any of the GJA executive position, more so the position of presidency. And so that provision is what anchors this action that has been filed at the court on. And so he makes the reference to that story that broke a couple of days to the GJA elections. You recall it was a publication that indicated that Mr. Dwumfour, in the company of businessman Samuel Tobinko, had met with some journalists in the Western region, and some monies had been paid as well as some assurance had been given. We heard Mr. Dwumfour during his campaign to address this particular matter. But as far as this member of the Ghana Journalists Association is concerned, this amounts to the bribery and influence in elections, which is an issue under the Constitution and does not make him eligible to contest. Now, the claim is that he proceeded to petition the GJA Elections Committee on this particular matter prior to the polls, requesting that they disqualify Mr. Dwumfour from contesting. Now, he alleges that it is out of this particular petition that led to a disagreement between the chairman of the Elections Committee and the other members, resulting in his decision to resign from participating in this particular election process. You recall that a couple of days to the polls, the chairman of the committee stepped away and resigned, and we know that the election proceeded nonetheless. A lot of people thought the election was in limbo, and so he makes reference to that and proceeds to say that on the basis of these matters, it means that one, Mr. Dwumfour was not eligible to contest and should have been disqualified from contesting, and that once he contested, whatever election that took place was null and void and of no effect, and so that election he says is questionable, Ernest.
And so what are the reliefs that are being sought in this application by Justice Adeboye?
So the first point he's asking is for a declaration to the effect that the said election that first Mr. Dwumfour was not eligible to contest the polls, and also a declaration to the effect that the said election was null and void and of no effect. He also wants an order to set that particular post aside. He's also filed for an injunction, which is a separate application attached to this particular writ, asking that the court restrains the GJA's executives or assigns from carrying out the swearing, which we understand is expected to take place tomorrow. But that injunction application has not been heard and determined yet, Ernest.
Joseph, thank you very much. Fortunately, we're joined by Justice Adeboye himself. He joins us via Zoom. Thank you very much, Justice, for joining us. So in that writ that we've seen, which Joseph refers to, you say that the issues that you raised before the Elections Committee led to the resignation of the chairman. Is it your belief that the issues you put before them were upheld by the chairman, for which reason he had to resign?
Okay, so let's correct this. I was not the one who filed the petition.
Okay.
The petition was filed by another member of GJA from Takoradi. Actually, the chairman of the Western Regional Chapter of GJA filed that petition. And so just imagine that very close to an election, a petition is filed against one of the candidates. The issues were not resolved, and then the chair of the GJA's electoral body resigns, steps down. and cites personal reasons. And you did not hear the announcement of an appointment of an acting chair whatsoever, and the elections went ahead. What does that paint? What picture does that paint of, the noble body of the Journalists Association? And so my information, verifiable information, is that the chair took a principled position to step down if things were not going to be done, for justice to be served. Then he took that principled position to step down.
But what information we also have, this is just a day before the election, the then outgone General Secretary, who has been re-elected at this particular election, Kofi Yeboah, did indicate that even in the absence of the chairman of the committee, the elections could proceed because the constitution of the GJA makes room for that. And so that cannot necessarily be a grounds to annul the elections. Don't you agree?
Okay. Now, if you listen to me carefully, I said the matters were not resolved. The matters that were brought before the GJA's committee for election were not resolved. The issues of bribery allegation were not resolved before the chairman stepped down. And this actually paints the wrong picture of an association that is the fourth estate, that is supposed to be holding duty bearers, decision makers, accountable of their stewardship. Then ours, we cannot put ourselves accountable. We don't want to stand that litmus test of, probity and accountability. This is why we want this matter investigated and the conclusions brought out for everybody to see.
Whilst what you're saying is very important, there are those who also believe that for an association that has been battered with many issues, had elections dragged for almost 2 years, we should just let sleeping dogs lie so we could proceed in, finding a new path for the GJA and getting the GJA that we need to defend the rights of journalists and be an active voice in this democracy. How do you respond to that?
Okay, my response to them is that is their view, but in my view, that is not the right way to go. For me, the right way to go is a restructuring of the GJA based on, the principles we stand for as journalists. Truth be told, no matter whose ox is God, truth must be told. And so if we ourselves, who always hold duty bearers accountable, have our organization, enmeshed in this kind of controversy here and the allegations of bribery here and there, and somebody wants us to sweep it under the carpet, then I do not want the kind of journalist organization the fellow wants. I don't know the kind of media the fellow wants in this country. But for me, I believe that if you want to be truthful, if you want to hold others, to their word, then you must also be ready to be held to your word.
And finally, Justice, what do you say also to those who say this is inspired by the fact that your candidate, your preferred candidate, lost in that election?
All right, if that is what somebody says, so be it. The question is, do I have the right, as a member of GJA, do I have the right to seek redress in court if I find out that certain things were not done as per the constitution of the GJA? Do I have that right to go to court to seek redress? If I do have the right, then that argument the fellow is making lacks water.
Has this been served on the GJA? Do you know that for a fact?
It is served on the GJA, and if they do anything tomorrow about inaugurating Albert Dwumfour as president, they would have been in contempt of court.
Thank you very much, Justice, for bringing us some more clarity on this action that you've taken. But my colleague Kweku Asante joins us via Zoom because just when this news broke, he was at the International Press Center to verify whether or not indeed the facts as we are learning as it is, and whether the GJA has been served these summons. Kweku, when you got to the press center, tell us what you observed.
And as men, when I got to the press center, two court officials, the bailiffs, were with these documents trying to serve officials of the Ghana Journalists Association. The office right in front, the secretariat where you'd usually go, was under lock and key. But you could observe that there were some people in the office. And so what they did was to drop the documents right in front of the office of the Journalists Association, that is the International Press Center. Indeed, before they did that, they handed it over to a gentleman they said they believed was an official of the Journalists Association around. And indeed, if you look on the face of the documents, Justice Lee Adoboy, who you just spoke with, is the plaintiff. He's the one filing this specific claim against the Ghana Journalists Association. And so when these court officials dropped these documents and left, someone emerged from the office. At the time, as journalists, I got close to the documents that had just been dropped. You could see the names and the claims. And then this official came to me and said, why was I inspecting these documents without seeking permission? And so I explained to them that when I came, the office was under key and lock. And so I could not have known that there was someone inside for me to speak with. At the time, I saw that Graphic also came in. Graphic came in with their vehicle. Adom News also came in. A number of other media houses also came around because they had heard news that this injunction had been filed. And so this woman confronted me. She sought tough to be a member of the secretariat of the GJA, that I should have sought permission before I went through the documents. And so Justice Adoboy's documents have not been laid right in front of the press center, right at the entrance. And so there may be technicalities that there are those who would say that the GJA had not been served, but from the court officials and the conversations I had with them, they believe that they had served the GJA and that they expect that the association will not go ahead with the swearing-in that is scheduled for tomorrow.
Kweku, thank you very much. And we'll be following this closely to bring you up to speed on what happens from here.